is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
If Bud was the best, I got to give it to him. Bud's the best, but he's hands down, he's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people say he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won one of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back when confronting Floyd Mayweather over his comments about Terence Crawford after the Canelo fight. Smith argued that Crawford had achieved something truly historic, becoming undisputed in multiple weight classes in a way no other fighter has done. He emphasized that every part of Crawford's legacy was earned and deserves full recognition, not criticism, according to Smith. Defeating Canelo wasn't just another victory, it was a defining moment that cemented Crawford among boxing's all-time greats. He made it clear that Mayweather's attempts to downplay the achievement could never diminish Crawford's remarkable success.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather shared a candid take on the stunning upset Crawford delivered to Canelo. Stressing that this loss will leave a lasting mark on Canelo's legacy, he pointed out that Canelo had long been the undisputed king of his division, commanding respect and dominance over all challengers, yet Crawford stepped up, moving up in weight to face him on his own turf, and handed him a humbling defeat for Jeff. This wasn't just a minor setback, it was a defining moment that will forever be associated with Canelo's name in boxing history. He emphasized that true champions are remembered for these pivotal moments. And for Canelo, that moment came in the form of a crushing loss to Crawford.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What does this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on, because even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. Because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following, because he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was blown away by Crawford's triumph and didn't hold back in expressing his admiration. He highlighted that being present for this historic moment made the victory even more impactful for him. Smith noted that no one in boxing history has accomplished what Terence Crawford just did. Moving up in weight to decisively defeat a dominant champion like Canelo, he described it as a career-defining performance that sets Crawford apart and ensures this night will be remembered forever in boxing lore. For Smith, it wasn't simply a fight. It was a landmark moment that redefined what it means to be great in the sport.
This was Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Crawford's trainer made it clear after the fight that Terrence has nothing left to prove in his eyes. Crawford has reached a level where respect should be automatic. Yet some critics still refuse to acknowledge it. This highlighted the frustration that even after dismantling one of boxing's biggest names, Crawford continues to face outside narratives. His trainer stressed that Terrence isn't focused on another fight right now, as his performance against Canelo alone is more than enough to solidify his greatness for Crawford. This wasn't about chasing big names anymore. It was about building a legacy that cannot be questioned.
Terrence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who was one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terrence Crawford. And they're saying that Terrence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terrence Crawford is ducking and Terrence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24...
Timothy Bradley offered one of the boldest takes. Directly comparing Crawford to Floyd Mayweather, he insisted that Crawford's name now belongs at the very top of any greatest of all time discussion. For Bradley, this wasn't just about beating Canelo. It was about redefining what it truly means to be pound for pound number one. He emphasized that while Floyd dominated his era, Crawford showed he could operate on an even higher level by facing Canelo at his absolute peak. In Bradley's view, this victory elevated Crawford into a rarefied class reserved only for the all-time legends of boxing.
Too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it. That's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terrence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Roy Jones Jr. offered a thoughtful perspective, noting that unlike Floyd Mayweather's bout with Canelo years ago, this time both fighters were at their peak. He explained that Floyd had the advantage of facing a younger, less experienced Canelo, allowing him to outbox him with skill and ring intelligence. In contrast, Crawford took on a fully matured, battle-hardened Canelo, the one who had dominated his division for years. Despite being naturally smaller, Crawford still dismantled him for Roy. This alone makes Crawford's accomplishment remarkable, as he defeated a version of Canelo who was stronger, smarter, and sharper than the one Mayweather ever faced.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think it's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie was left speechless by what unfolded in the ring. He observed that Canelo had no solution for Crawford's relentless pressure, lightning speed, and pinpoint accuracy. McKenzie described the performance as nothing short of extraordinary. Calling it one of the most complete displays ever seen in modern boxing, he emphasized that Crawford not only claimed undisputed status but also showed he is nearly untouchable even against the fiercest opponents. His admiration was clear, highlighting that Crawford has raised the bar to a level that few, if any, fighters will ever approach.
Know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight. Not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight, Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight. You know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around, knowing how to win rounds.
Trainer Robert Garcia delivered a powerful endorsement of Crawford's greatness, arguing that in this context he has surpassed Floyd Mayweather. He highlighted how Crawford dominated 9 to 10 rounds against Canelo with relentless drive, taking risks that Mayweather never attempted at such a high-stakes level. Garcia emphasized that Floyd never moved up to challenge a bigger champion and completely outclass him, making Crawford's victory historic and unmatched. For Garcia, this wasn't just about titles or statistics. It was about courage, ambition, and executing under pressure, qualities that distinguish true legends from mere icons.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't. I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see that those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-time, three-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing if Canelo doesn't have any changes. If he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retires.
Brian Norman Sr. made it clear that Terence Crawford's destruction of Canelo Alvarez was far more punishing than anything Floyd Mayweather had ever done. Canelo, long seen as the king of his division and nearly untouchable, was systematically dismantled by a fighter who had moved up 2 weight classes. Crawford's performance was a masterclass, redefining modern boxing greatness. The shock wasn't just in the loss but in how it happened. Canelo wasn't edged on points or outlasted. He was completely outclassed, left searching for answers that never came, proving Crawford's dominance on a historic level.
I bet against Bud on quarter. I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, but he's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease. Right? You got to respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way he won it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Canelo was, not Canelo, Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Primo or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with both. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's it's opinionated situation with the Styles Nate fight. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing. The Styles Nate fight, you just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras.
Yeah, different eras. It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Andre Ward framed Crawford's victory as a generational moment, one that will be remembered for decades as a turning point in boxing. He highlighted how such fights define careers and separate great fighters from timeless legends. What stood out to Ward was Crawford's discipline. He remained sharp, composed, and intelligent throughout, never letting emotions take control. For Ward, this performance cemented Crawford as one of the greatest ever, elevating him to a rare pedestal in boxing history by dismantling Canelo so convincingly.
Canelo Alvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Canelo, from Terrence?
From Terrence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terrence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terrence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next, please subscribe.